it's a big thanks to my team for holding the fort while I was not around. So they've taken care of business for me.
We haven't seen Phil or Chino in I think it feels like a year or so.
The last time we saw them was last year.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. Pretty much.
No, technically that's correct. If you didn't see them, if the last time you saw them was last year. But yeah, I haven't been able to be active on social media as well. I was just trying to get back to work as soon as possible, trying to join as many meetings. But like I said, we do have some of our personnel in the company affected as well. I think Chino was down with COVID as well, and then we have another our graphic designer Ron. Ron was down with COVID, but he was able to get back on his feet in a few days, so that's good.
Oh, Phil jumped in chat. Is that you, Phil? Is that really you? We missed your voice.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to talk, but I was muted. What's going on, man?
We are missing you guys for sure. So glad to have you all back.
So before Ben comes in, I just wanted to update you guys on some of the stuff that's happening over the next couple of weeks or so. One is that we're announcing a staking window specifically for special editions as well as KOGs that are in the game. So that will include the Slam KOGs as well. More details will be rolled out, but essentially it's a separate window that is not related to the edition that was just finished. All those people who have bad days, all those people who've collected KOGs in the game as well and be able to tube it up. This staking window is specific to you guys. What we're trying to do is also put up a leaderboard challenge specific to the game. This will be focused around stats, which are slightly going to be tweaked. So what's going to happen end of this month, and there will be an announcement around it, is that we are going to reset the stats and the leaderboard so that people can start fresh in February when we begin the leaderboard challenge. But we will release news around it probably next week or the week after. So Chino's putting all that in place. We hired a community manager for our Indonesian market. So if you've seen past couple of days, there was an announcement that we've increased the number of countries in the list of people who can be able to download, and then Indonesia is going to be the next market that we are targeting. A lot of you were asking regarding the numbers around what Piyush was talking about when we grew 10x. So we started off in the first month because we didn't scale that much and we didn't really market a game. We started at 2,000, and then even without heavy marketing and just basically organic marketing, we've grown to about 20,000 players so far, and that's not with any marketing. The reason why I'm holding back marketing is I'm still hoping to get iOS out as soon as possible because I don't want to leave that segment out. But it has been always challenging with Apple and their fickleness when it comes to us accommodating their requirements. So Martin has gone through hell over the past month or so, going back and forth with them. We fix something that they tell us to fix, but then they tell us, please change this, please change that. So the changes require some development time and some developers to come up with either something that facilitates their requirements or basically something that allows us to give the access to the game while also managing the privacy of the accounts on Apple. So if you know, Apple ID requires you to be able to put your email address or choose a fake email address or something that's masked by Apple. That is causing some problem as well. But I would not give up. Like I said, I really want the iOS crowd to come in and be able to enjoy the game together with the Android players. The other thing we did this week was to fix up the Google Pixel and Samsung S21 issues. So those on Samsung phones and Pixel, you should be able to download the game. Please do update the client because there are always fixes happening. We are rolling out a client or build probably once every other week or once a week these days because we want to get closer and closer to the version that starts to bring in as many people as possible. And that's something that we are spending the month of January planning properly on how to accommodate more and more players and give activities as well as incentives for people to go into modes like Arena, right? So up to now, we haven't released Arena KOGs yet. So these are all Slam KOGs. So Slam KOGs you can buy if you wanted them to for brute force, but then Arena KOGs you won't be able to buy. You will have to gain coins either by buying or grinding them, and then play in Arena to earn them. And if you don't want to go through that, then just look at the marketplace for you to be able to buy. So these KOGs that are being released, either the special edition, the game KOGs, and the Arena KOGs, these are the ones that you will be using for the next staking window that's coming up. So I expect the staking window to be probably the announcement to be made probably in a week or so. But the gist of it is it's nothing to do with the editions that you have right now because your staking window just finished. This is more related to the special edition and the game KOGs that are now being rolled out. Sorry, Benny, I was just updating the community before you came in.
No problems. How is everybody? It is an absolutely wretched market at the minute. There can't be many sellers left, surely. The little one's great. I've been making a lot of videos. I actually do exactly what you'd expect a reckless person like myself to do. I do videos where I actually put on his voice and then my voice and have a conversation with him and about all sorts of inappropriate subjects. I amuse myself at least. They're I could put one in here. They're quite inappropriate.
You're getting him used to the green screen as young as possible, huh?
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, it's actually been very, very good, and I think taking the week really gave me. I went down the rabbit hole. Of course, I can't stop working, and I went down the rabbit hole and looked at a lot of things going on in the scene, and then also gave me a helicopter view, which was really good, and a chance to sort of reflect and have a look at things from a distance, which was really, really, really good. It to be good. How does it feel to be your older brother's boss? Actually, it's a great question, XP, because the thing is that obviously we're brothers. I've been on the international circuit for a long, long time, and so it's kind of like we were separated at birth. I've never worked with him before. And I have, obviously, living overseas, I've not been physically as close. So it's very interesting because he's had a very different career and he can bring a lot of value to what we're actually doing. But so far, he's been really helpful. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. It's got it's a breath of fresh air, and it's a different mindset. And he's very process oriented. I'm more of an ideas and creative, and he's more of a get in there and get things process driven and work out how to make them actually come together and happen. And he's very technical, and I'm not technical at all. So it's a good combination. Pete loves him. That's good. I got the looks, did I, Adelaire? That's hilarious. But not the hair. So one of the things that Luke's come in and put on the headset and had a look at the vault and walked through and sort of said, this stuff's actually massive, and it's huge. People need to see this, and can't believe why there's not more excitement externally. And I think the excitement of someone putting on a headset and walking through the vault and seeing what it looks like and how it operates is better. So his view is to make sure that we do much more from the updates perspective, much more regularly, and visual updates, of course. So that's what we'll be focusing on. And then he's already driving it to be mandatory that everybody internally is using the downloads and the APKs as much as we can. And I've got a really cool video. I probably shouldn't share it because I'll have to get their permission, but I've got a video of a couple of the guys from media that have gone into the vault for the first time only yesterday and said that it's completely changed their perception of what it is that we're doing. And it was one of the coolest experiences they'd ever had in their lives. And I was thinking, this is really motivating me to make sure that we get that same feeling across the board to everybody. So I couldn't be more excited about what it is that we're doing. And then we got interviewed by a very, very mainstream media channel yesterday as well, who were excited about what it is that we're actually doing and were very complimentary about what it is that we're doing as well. So I think that excitement's coming, George 74, but I want to make sure that we can show it properly. And the other feedback that we got is that when you go and show a video of a walkthrough, it's completely different than actually putting on a headset and walking through. And I do realize that most of the people will be using a lot of the people will use mobile phones, obviously, and headsets are not going to be available to everybody, so they'll use the mobile version. But the headset version is something different altogether. It's another level. I think this one's for you, Fadz.
Oh yeah. So them approving or not approving RFOX, KOGs Slam is being, the list of things that they want us to change is being whittled down as we do more and more reviews. So I'm hoping that it ends as soon as possible, but there's no guarantee that they won't reject, because Apple has a long list of requirements that are pretty vague when it comes to managing user account data. So there's nothing to do with the game or the business model. It's just the privacy settings around us requiring you to go out, be able to put in a password for your OID wallet, and to be able to go back in again. That is a bit clunky to them, right? So we are refining it according to the requirements, so that when we roll it out, we're not rolling it out only in select countries. For iOS, we're rolling it out globally. So it also helps us polish up the product to a point where it's easily picked up by anyone who downloads it on the App Store.
Elite 23, no, it won't expand as far as shop sizes are concerned for the global. That's being answered, but I just think sometimes obviously text and voice is different. It won't be expanded at that level. That wouldn't be fair to the shop owners that have bought. The things that I will say is, so as stated there, we have talked about rolling out in the regional level. So, for example, if we did a vault in Indonesia, that would be specifically for Indonesia, and we'd have a potential passport system, so you could actually go and travel to the other vaults. The thing is that we need to have that local level, so that if a person in Indonesia goes into a food court and orders food, it would get delivered to a person who's actually ordering from Indonesia, whereas in a global vault, someone from Norway can go in and buy food, and then the Indonesian person's not going to be able to deliver their food, right? So global level will be much more digital, and the local level can be much more scalable and have hawkers, food courts, and stuff like that. So quite a different look. What we are getting, so you talked about excitement and all the rest of it. What we are getting is tons more big brands actively approaching and asking how they can get involved. And now we've got a number of people. I think some of you know that because you've referred people yourselves. People are asking now whether it's possible to have things built on to the vault. Like, for example, I'll tell you one that is unlikely to happen with this particular company, so I can actually explain it. So we've been approached by companies who say, we do stuff like amusement parks, and we want to do a virtual amusement park. Can we have a park that is, it's a bridge, or it comes out from the center, and that amusement park could be replicated in each of the vaults, for example. So we're getting lots of businesses saying, could we provide a service or a feature or something in the vault additional to the shop, so it doesn't extend the amount of shops that there are, but and I'm not being specific because I'm trying to make sure that I don't talk about what those might look like, but that's what people are asking now. Would you be open to the concept of allowing us to do X, Y, and Z? The other thing that people are asking for, and Pete might be able to explain if it gets technical, people are asking about instances. I think we've mentioned this previously. So, for example, if I wanted to do a zombie hunt and play a game, for example, can I go into zombie hunt shop, register, walk out the doors of the zombie hunt shop, still see the same exact vault? So it looked like the vault, but I'm suddenly in a game and I only see other players that are playing in the same zombie hunt game. So the vault would look the same, but it would be transformed in that instance. So that's what people are asking about. Is that the right way to explain how? Is it in instances, Pete?
Yep.
Yeah. So it could be that you're playing sport, a game, or racing cars, and you would only see other car races. And why that's important is because people that are going shopping and looking for a retail experience don't want to have zombies running around and people shooting zombies and stuff. They'd be thinking, what the hell's this? So through separate instances, you can use the same space to create a different experience for people, which is kind of, I don't know, for a person not technical like myself, I find that quite phenomenal.
Like the same track, the same racetrack could be used to race chickens, cars, spaceships. But of course, you won't be racing chickens versus spaceships. It'll be either chickens or spaceships. But depending on what instance you choose to load. So if you enter a chicken shop, then the race could be, a chicken race. If you enter a spaceship shop, then they could fire up an instance for a space race. And like I said, the zombie hunt could be on Kalinova. So you're running around Kalinova, hunting zombies, but it doesn't affect the people walking around and shopping, because that zombie hunt is a separate instance. Nothing to do with the one that you and your missus are walking around enjoying the view and all that.
What about pineapple?
I find what you're saying exactly, and I find this to be extremely amazing. And people would have noticed if a couple of weeks ago you asked about instances, and I believe we said 32 people per instance, Pete. I think it is at the moment. But when I was saying that's a difficult question to answer is because I was trying not to allude to the fact that there could be 32 people playing, seeing one aspect, and 32 people seeing another aspect, and you can have multiple instances running at the same time simultaneously. And I think this is where it gets freaking exciting.
The tech that we're using currently, at least, is 32 per instance. So we're not looking at 1,000 cars racing at the same time on the racetrack, right? We're just looking at 32. And there could be another racetrack, another instance with 32 chickens, up to 32 chickens. I mean, you wouldn't have a race with 32 cars to begin with.
Craigo, Benny, you made mention in today's AMA with Lenny that of creating more value for RFOX holders. What does this look like, and when will we learn more of this? Well, I've got Fadz on the call, so I'm just going to say something without being specific. I mean, we've been talking to different people in the company, and one of the things that I did was I sat down for the week that I was off and sort of said, I'll write out a Confessions of a Blockchain CEO, and I wrote all the things that I think we did well in the previous year and things that we could have done better and capitalize. And we've got our internal structure for KPIs, OKRs, and strategy and what we want to achieve in the year. But what I did at a personal level was sat down and said, I really want to work consistently and continually on working out how to provide extreme value to people that have invested with us. And what I mean by that is, you might say, well, shouldn't you always be thinking about that? We are always thinking about that, but it's much, much harder to concentrate and focus on the value return and additional value when you don't have your product base. But you've heard me say over the last couple of months, that I'm already starting to focus a lot on the launching side of things. How do we launch brands? How do we launch companies and labels? And you're going to see this on the interviews that will come out on the more mainstream channel soon. That's something that I'm talking about non-stop, and that is, how do we... So in the beginning, months and months ago or years ago, companies would come to you and say, it's going to cost you millions of dollars to work with us. I've told you this story before many times. Now it's a situation where we're able to say everybody wants to get into the metaverse spaces, and there are limited opportunities because the tools are not ready from almost all of the providers or suppliers of metaverses. And now the tide's turned significantly to be much more about the people with the metaverses having a lot more say, leverage, and control. And now it's about, if you want to work with us or you want to come into the metaverse, what can you provide from a value perspective? Is it that you're launching a token and you can give us some of those tokens for our holders? Is it NFTs? Is it collaborations through the technology that you provide? So simply put, we are now in a position where we can start to really consider the options of how we make sure that there is value, whether that be, are we reducing the supply of RFOX? Are we creating... It's my previous point, even talking to Fadz and talking to other people in the business, the opportunities that we've got in front of us to be able to create that value and those opportunities for the holders, it's not a matter of we have to sit down and try and pencil out something that we can do. It's a matter of which one of these opportunities do we take? What's the best path? What's the most exciting thing for us to do? So that's what I mean. I mean, my personal accountability is, if I can't provide tremendous value, I shouldn't be in the role. So now that we've got this moving and we've got the platform about to sort of all piece together, I have to have a very, very strong focus on making sure that the investors have validation for the fact that they've found us early, backed us and believed us. And I think anyone who's been around for a long time knows we give a lot back. I want to be able to slam that home and show people that you were right. Wouldn't it be better to give the next batch of shops to premium brands for the first 2 years for free and then charge them later on market price for shops? We've actually just talked a lot about this as well in interviews. I reckon that a lot of these brands are in trouble. A lot of these brands have to hustle faster to stay relevant. Some of the younger, hip, more savvy brands, easy transition. But I've said this for a long while now, and I'll continue to say it. The brands that are spawned from the metaverse and that are born out of this Web3 movement are going to be much more desirable and stronger. And I said it on an interview last night, and I'll say it now. You think about this logically, and I'll use Walmart because they've been in the news saying they're going to go for the metaverse angle. If Walmart says, hey, The Rock, I'll give you $1 million to endorse us, and a crypto company comes along and says, hey, Rock, I'll give you $3 million to endorse us. There's two pertinent points there. One, it's actually a commercial risk for those big celebrities now to endorse a company or a legacy brand that doesn't have the same type of sex appeal as these Web 3.0 businesses. And then the difference between the 1 and the 3, Walmart can afford to give 3. But the thing is, you have to get board approval. You have to get return on investment. Whereas if a crypto company says, I'm going to give you $3 million worth of tokens to promote our product, that could cause the value of your token to go up infinitely, which would make that investment very worthwhile. And there's less hurdles to jump through for those types of things to happen. So it's actually a risk for these big celebrities to partner with brands that don't have the same sort of sizzle and sex appeal as some of these Web 3.0s. So I think what you'll find is that the brands that do the best in these metaverse spaces will largely be brands that are born in the metaverse space, that understand the technology, that have the crowds and have the users, and these guys are prepared to build. want to build, they want to work, they want to create stuff. Whereas a lot of these big brands, legacy brands, don't know what to do. They don't know how to get involved. They need help. It's the dynamic is shifting very quickly. I've been in the FLUFworld website looking at sensory headsets for VR. Jokes aside, it's smell-o-vision something the Vault is exploring. Actually, someone sent through last night, Mr. Flair, an article from 2016 where it was called Nosulus or something, and it was the world's first headset that could actually smell farts. And I was like, is this for real? I think the whole sensory movement is something that's, you have to have audio and visual, the 8D types of sound, the experiential stuff. We're already talking to companies that want to provide hardware to make the experiences more realistic. So, the haptic suit type of things, and they're working on how to make not a lot of people are focusing on that side of things yet. So there's actually hardware goods that can click in that will improve people's experience. And those people are already trying to wheel and deal and partner with Metaverse companies as fast as they can. So I can't tell you how exciting it is to finally have those types of companies approach us instead of us having to say, right, what will we have to think of next? Who could we possibly contact that could possibly help us down that avenue? The fact that these people are coming to you, and now they're coming to us before we might have even considered that potential technology as an option. So that's a very, very bullish sign for the whole industry in general. Okay, so an amusement park won't be part of the Vault. I did see that Disney. I'm not saying that amusement park won't be part of the Vault. I'm saying that particular amusement park company is unlikely to be featured. But amusement parks will be a big part of our virtual spaces for sure. Would there be an option to have RFOX exclusive shops that can get loaned to brands for marketing, e.g. Actually, that's something that's that we're getting asked a lot as it's going on. And I know people might say, well, we want to see an improvement on the second sale. As I think Piyush explained, marketing efforts are changing and veering and all the rest of it. But I think that it's almost an understatement to say that the level of interest since the last one in the industry in general, in Metaverse space, is phenomenal. I think a lot of people are starting to realize that if they don't move quickly, they're going to miss out. So many people have come forward and said, like Josh, when he bought the first shop, he said, I can use that to house many different artists. That's what people are looking at. They're looking at the fact that there's scarcity, and can they host multiple parties or multiple artists or multiple musicians? Can they run separate instances? So there's lots of stuff like that we've looked at, and I think, Pete, it's fair to say that we've sat down in planning sessions and we've thrown up every possible option under the sun to the point where it's almost you almost have to headbutt, because it's like,
I think there's more. There are more, but everyone's just taking a step back. Like, oh, too much.
Yeah, it's like auction types, length, durations, currencies, ways that shops could be sold. You could take 5 shops and have them on Dutch auctions, or 5 shops at set prices, 5 that are just for a shop that's for RFOX community. People could use a dot type system and stake RFOX to then win the rights to use a shop, and then it would be community run or DAO based. There's been so many options thrown around that it's ridiculous, and we're just trying to work out what the best way is. So we're continually reassessing and pivoting and making sure that we've got the best possible outcome for our users. Will the NFT platform be launched with big boom, or will you offer it to market more or less behind the scenes? So George74, there's already, as you know, Reebok and Miss Universe have used the NFT platform, and now we're working on a couple of very significant partnerships that would be mainstream, but that would work in conjunction with still offering it to the public. But as far as launching with a boom is concerned, one of the first main use cases that we have for it will be in line with, as we've said, and I don't want to steal Fadz's thunder or anybody else's, but what I mean is we've talked about use cases for KOGs, whitelists, and MintLabs and all the rest of it. This is the most logical use case for the white label platform coming out, is to utilize some of the projects that are building there and allow special entry for our holders. So we'll advise you on those updates. I know you do, Urban Gecko. You've got heaps of ideas for gamification for the Vault. And the thing is, it would be bad of us if we just said, no, we've got 5 or 6 ideas and we're going with those 5 or 6 ideas. The quicker we can get to a point where people like yourself and others can come in and also contribute your ideas and integrate and build and enhance the offerings, the better off we're all going to be. Because the combined minds are going to be a lot better than what we would be able to come up with. Is there a plan for RFOX to begin conducting Twitter Spaces? I'll leave that to marketing. I don't know if Piyush is here, but we've talked with marketing as recently as yesterday and today that we have to start doing more of what we were doing yesterday. So I won't go into details of that, but more into the thought leader and more mainstream media space. And the fact is that they're listening. So that's really, really good. So we're going to consider lots of different options to make sure that we get the word out. Can you guys share rationale for distributing KOGs staking rewards on Wax? Kudos to the bridge built over, but there is some use cases we should leave on Wax. Okay, so Craigo, I'll let Fadz also talk, but what I was going to say to you is, I was talking to the guys today about this. It's also a timing issue, because you buy KOGs on the Wax side, you trade KOGs on the Wax side, and the push has been, and the demand and request, which is right, has always been, you need to get RFOX over there. We should be buying stuff with RFOX. And that's actually now transpired. And now we're working on the utility cases for RFOX on the Wax side. It's just a matter of the timing of things lining up together. But obviously, if I get the feedback, and if people are saying, well, you paid us out in RFOX on the Wax side, what are we supposed to do with that? There's 2 parts to it, right? The first part is it's finally ready. Now we can start moving towards all payments in RFOX, and that's fantastic for RFOX users. But the question remains, what is the immediate use case for the RFOX on the Wax side? And that's what we're working on now.
We do have activity that's coming up that will utilize RFOX on Wax. So we'll be able to release that information quite shortly.
Right now, not so much. Yeah, so that's the other thing. We've talked about this recently as well in some of the interviews, is people are asking, did you when will we be able to see more about the Vault? When will we be able to interact more with it? When will we be able to have more walkthroughs? And as I say, as more staff or people connected to us get a chance to walk through and say, holy crap, this is the feedback we're getting from those people is this is much better than the metaverses that are currently out there. What's the hold up, or why does it take so long, or why? So there's always a fine balance, right? And it's between the people wanting to get things more polished or more perfect versus doesn't matter. Let's show people what we've got and what we're working with. But either way, we've all come to the agreement of much more regular updates, more detailed updates, showing you some of the improvements. Like, for example, just as a concept, moving trees and water and the look and the feel and textures and stuff like that. So it's really important. It is true that it does some of it gets lost on the fact that it's not in the headset. If you're walking around in the headset, it's just a mind-blowing experience. So sometimes watching a flat visual recording doesn't give you the same oomph factor. But what we have agreed to is working out a format that gives you much greater visibility on the progress that's being made what's being updated, upgraded, and how close we are without us just talking to you about it, actually showing you. So that's something that we're working on very hard, is to give you very regular visual updates on where we're at. Any comments on the Microsoft move on Activision? You were right, there's more and more companies making Metaverse announcements. Do you think it's companies moving to capture users or the more gamified network demographics? So, yeah, one of the other things I said on the interview last night is that I think they asked, well, you know, what should a lot of these big retailers do? I said, go sit in the corner, cuddle at their knees and rock backwards and forwards because they're in a bit of trouble. I think it's a very strategic play, and yes, it's to acquire more Web3 based and minded users for sure and certain. But we've said before, brands go where the hype is, and these guys understand that if they're not buying things, they're going to be left behind. But why would a company like that buy a company like Activision? Because I said to you guys all before, what we are doing now is we've been building and building and building, as you know. And now what we're looking at doing is starting to say, we now need to really look at the possibility of, if we need to get something major put into the vault or added into our ecosystem, we need to look at purchasing other companies that have that and do that. The reason being brevity and time. We need to move fast now. And so the thing is that a lot of those companies realize if they want to have metaverse plays, they need to buy companies that can actually help them build the things they need quickly and with experience and with a tapped-in audience. So you're going to see more and more companies buying things that you think might be weird or that's an unusual play. They're not unusual at all. There's a very, very methodical reason that they're doing that. So if, for example, we went out and bought a manufacturing company that deals with plastics, for example, and that's just a weird hypothetical example, but you should be thinking to yourself, what can they make from plastic? Is it headsets? Are they making some sort of devices that connect into that? But that's exactly why they would be doing that type of stuff. 100%. And I think it's fair to say, Pete, like if I think there's no bones in saying this. If Pete came to me today and he said, we haven't built an NFT white label platform and we hadn't considered it before, and he said, look, I think that a white labeled NFT platform is a good idea, we should build that. We're almost at that point now where we'd say, go and find one somewhere, buy it if it was available, because starting that now, we need to run. I think we were lucky to start building the stuff that we are about to release when we did, but nothing that major or significant and that long a build time could start now if it was going to delay the progress of the initial platform being rolled out. It's not to say we won't build stuff from scratch once things are up and running, but right now, if we need stuff or we've got dependencies on getting the platforms out, we need to buy stuff. Yeah, Urban Gecko, your answer as well is we're seeing more and more now, and I dare say, like if you had to hazard a guess, I mean, you guys are switched on people. Obviously, you're in this space and you picked it up early. Have a guess, and I don't know the answer. I've got no idea, so that's why I'm saying have a guess. Tell me what you think. How many companies do you reckon right now have seen what's happening and are absolutely freaking scrambling to build cheaper VR headsets? I think I don't even know. I've got no idea. I'd be making it up. But Pete, you're more technical than I am. What would you think? What would you think? Hazard a guess, ballpark figure. Not holding you to it. I'm just saying, educated. How many companies, being from a technical background and mindset, how many companies do you think would be trying to deploy cheaper versions of headsets right now? It'd have to be in the thousands, surely.
Thousands.
Yeah. I think people think that magically we have to.
We should start looking into it.
Exactly. Well, we've already talked about that, but hardware is something we have to focus on for sure and certain. And it looks like Facebook's in trouble with Oculus as well for a number of reasons. But I don't think that you should think that one of those big ones that are famous we have to wait for them to drop a cheaper device. This is something that people are scrambling. People know that Metaverse is a huge play. I reckon if I went into my notifications on companies that have done raises, I reckon there'd be a lot in there that are doing hardware for metaverses. Do you have a favourite month or quarter you're looking forward to this year? I think we could all, others are welcome to answer that as well. But for me, I'm just really looking forward to the time when people can start to sort of walk through with the headsets on and get that same blown away experience. Because a couple of the guys internally, the way I've known them for a long, long time in our company, and the way that they reacted to their first walkthrough with a headset, I haven't seen them as excited. So I just want to see that infectious flow on to everybody else, and just to be able to say, this is what we've been working so hard on, and this is what we've been building, and this is, I think it's going to be, so my answer, and I'll hand it over to you, Pete and Fadz. My answer to that would be, my favourite thing that I'm looking forward to is the staff getting the recognition they deserve for the hard work that they've done, because the product's actually being interacted with and people understand why we've got so many people and what they've been doing. Pete, Fadz?
I think my favorite quarter this year would be the second quarter because of the product releases. So that one actually shows that we're interoperable between titles and have a utility case that is interoperable as well. So I'd say, at least I can't speak on behalf of my team because we have a roadmap that we're about to release for all the different product drops that we're about to do. So I think second is the favorite one for me because of the first time implementing this interoperability.
Pete?
I'm just looking forward for April.
Just going to leave it at that, are you, mate?
I'm just going to leave it at that, yes.
Okay. He's going to leave it at that. Probably Fool's Day, people, so that he can prank us all. Could you consider doing a 3D video capture that people can pan around the vault? This would be, we're actually looking at a few things, including something to do with a UI design element in relation to that as well. Pete's probably thinking, what the hell is he talking about? But I'm talking about something that's been discussed today from the website perspective. So I'll keep you posted as we move. But yes, anything that we can do to enhance, there has to be a bridge between, to your point, there has to be a bridge between a person watching YouTube, a stagnant video, versus the mind-blowing experience that a person with a VR headset gets. How do you transpire that feeling of excitement to a person who doesn't have a VR headset? Yeah, but I can tell you one thing that I know that makes us on the right track is each person that we've given a walkthrough to with the Oculus headset has immediately got put the headset down and ordered an Oculus. So that's a very bullish sign in my mind. What about the recent acquisition? I think you mentioned too, might be interesting. Anything ready to disclose with us yet? So still going through a couple now with paperwork, but we're continually buying into projects or companies that will actually help us reach our end goal. There's a number in the works, and there's a number of partnerships and joint ventures and all the rest of it. Actually, I'll probably spend my night after this. I've got a conference after this, but after the conference, I'll spend time going through some of the submissions that we've had for partnerships, which are significant. getting the entities quicker than onboarding the people. Yeah, actually, that's 100% right. KB76, we're at that stage now where bringing on new people, like it's a massive learning curve. Even people like my brother who would come in and say after a couple of weeks, I think I'm getting my head around this now, it's all starting to sink in, by the virtue of knowing the other 70-odd people that have come in before them. I think it's fair to say, Pete, that people think they're getting their head around it after 2 weeks, but after about 3 months, they sort of say, I didn't have my head around it at all. I thought I did. It's a lot.
Well, a 30-minute call today became a 1.5-hour call, and we still couldn't finish talking about stuff. So yeah, still explore. I think now it's still the exploring stage. I mean, you think you get your head around it, but you really have not.
But Pete, that's largely because once you start talking, you don't really shut up, right?
That's true. And your meetings are the same as well, right? From 1 hour to 2 hours.
That's also very true. And just to give you a little bit of tidbit, Pete and I have this call every week, which is supposed to be, which started off as a 30-minute, but within a month we realized that both of us love talking, and there is just no way this call is going to get over in less than an hour. So now we've officially made it like an hour-long call.
But that's the thing. The thing is that's a very good point that you raised, Piyush and Pete, because go back a year ago, and there wasn't 1 and 2 hour discussions going on with a lot of the people. Now, you, like Pete, when you came in, for example, and we're at the beginning of our real tech journey, of course, we had tons of stuff to talk about and all the rest of it. But what I'm saying is a lot of people joining would have just been listening, and trying to visualize the concept and what it might look like. But now that we've actually got stuff that people can touch and feel and use, the conversation is very much a two-way street with people saying, I've got an idea for this, how do we do this? Or we could take that and do this. So there's a lot more to actually talk about now. And it's good that people want to learn and want to dig deeper. How's it going with the internal team for gamifying the Vault? Are they going to build an SDK in parallel so the shop owners can do it? Yeah, so SDKs are an extremely important part for the Vault, for sure and certain. So yeah, there will be a lot of stuff around that. Urban Gecko, I think that another thing to add to that point would be, again, some time back it was a matter of how would we do this, how would we do that, and now with some of the people that have come in, it's more a matter of, no, don't do that. We don't need to go that far, or we don't need to do that much. So it's good that we're having to rein them in a little bit, because the ideas are free-flowing and the people are capable of actually executing those ideas, and that's something that's a good problem to have, to be able to say, don't do that. Lay very briefly mentioned in AMA of investor money coming in. To be fair, I have perhaps slightly misquoted him here in terms of the other money coming into others is happening. So we're getting more and more offers for that. I think I've been vocal in mentioning previously that there are a number of companies that have a great space race to try and see who can list the first metaverse company publicly on a stock exchange. So we've had all sorts of interesting offers and people coming in, but we have to do what's right for us. And like I say, we need to look at how to acquire other businesses that can help us get to point B faster. But what's happening now, I think the world went through a pretty weird situation last year, and a lot of these bigger companies are cashed up. So even when you talk to exchanges these days, you talk about listing and all the rest of it, and they've got a fund and they want to invest in metaverses, and they want to, you can't just have a straight conversation anymore. Everybody's got an investment fund and a portfolio fund. They want to do this and they want to do that. So the conversations that Lay would be referring to, there's a number of parallel conversations going in. Most people want to put some sort of stake in the metaverse space, and they want to invest in metaverse companies. But as you know, we haven't taken any outside equity investments to this date. and would only do so if it means that we're able to acquire companies faster. Intel just announced a better mining chip, so the businesses are adjusting 100%, Gralik, they have to. And I think that, I was saying a few months ago that if these businesses don't get it quickly and don't adjust quickly, they'll be dead. To the credit of a lot of those companies, they're moving quickly now. I think they're getting the message. And that's why I'm saying that even in the last couple of months, we're seeing a dramatic shift in mindset from these companies, and different types of offers are evolving very fast. Tell us more about this roadmap, Fadz.
So we had a roadmap that was confirmed at the end of last year, because we had a general idea of what we were going to accomplish in 2022. But we had a discussion, and I had a discussion with Ben, and the company is now scaling. So when we took a look at it from that point of view, and what Ben said just now as well, the ability for us to work with multiple developers at the same time means that we increase the amount of products we release within the same time frame. So we have to adjust the roadmap to show games that are coming out every quarter. So this adjustment in roadmap was just started probably this week, and it should be done probably by Friday. So after that, then you'll be able to see all the stuff that's happening related to KOGs, related to the games that are being rolled out, and the utility of even RFOX on Wax as well. So we will release that once we have the go signal.
Guys, if you've got questions, write them in here rather than DM as well. But a couple of people have asked, I'll say it, they keep saying it, people keep saying, if you've got all these great plans and this stuff's all coming to fruition, what about this current market situation? How does that change anything? And I'd say have a look at how many people are on this call, for example. The interest in the space has never been greater, and the market doesn't always reflect what's happening from a price perspective. I mean, there's too much interest flooding in now for this to be continue. There's just too much. There's too much money coming in. There's too much interest coming in. There's too much building going on. We're past the days of copy paste to someone's white paper, and I mean, it's still happening with the meme coins and a lot of these stupid tokens. The thing is that there's a lot more building going on in this space at the moment, and there's a lot more development happening, and it's becoming a reality now. So it just doesn't make sense that there's that much of a mismatch, and it just goes to show you that we're still tied to traditional markets a lot more than people would like to say that we are, and everybody assumes that crypto is completely independent. Of course it's not. So it can't continue the way that it is, and if it does for a little period of time, it won't last very long at all. I see YGG is partnered with Metaverse like Sandbox. Would there be a way to bridge other meta companies to the Vault? If we can't be interoperable with other Metaverse, with other platforms, then we're not an actual Metaverse. So the whole idea of a Metaverse is to be interoperable. So I was giving that example yesterday, saying that if Walmart wanted to survive, it would have a Metaverse, and being Walmart, and its stores would actually be attached to Target. So you go into Walmart, you walk into Target. They're better to work together and take a clip of the ticket for referring the traffic, and then they've got weight in numbers and more brands to offer. But if they don't go down the pathways of interoperability, they don't get exposure to different audiences and different brands. And if you're not going down the pathway of interoperability, and we won't name the obvious metaverses that are doing that and not building for interoperability and are siloed, and that's why we're starting to get some of these better interviews and stuff now, is because we've got a very multi-chain approach, and we're not trying to be maximalists, and we're not trying to build just for us and nobody else can integrate, and none of you guys as creators can come in and actually do stuff, you have to abide by 9 million pages of rules, and this doesn't work. Won't work. All these companies, Nike, Adidas, coming into the space claiming Metaverse have gone quiet. Think it's because they are behind in development. All these companies, Nike, Adidas, coming into the space claiming Metaverse has gone quiet. Think it's because they're behind in development. I think no one is like, when you look at what we're about to release and put out and where the space needs to go. I don't want to say this because this is obviously a lot of people listening, and I don't want to be a naysayer, but some of these AAA games that are building and deploying large-scale AAA games on blockchain, it can't happen yet. It can't happen. You think that's fair to say, Pete?
Not immediately, at least.
No, I'm saying not yet. I'm saying that, and we know because we speak to these companies. They say, shit, we have to start working out how to not include anywhere near as much blockchain, or crap, how do we solve that problem? Or we've gone too far down that rabbit hole, or shit, we're in trouble.
Yeah, a lot of them actually think that, blockchain is like, hey, let's integrate everything, let's put everything on chain and all that. And then after doing all that, then they realize, oh crap.
Let me just say this much.
It is a balance. It is a balance.
100%. And I'll say it this way, very honestly speaking. We might not be the biggest team in the world. I'll grant you that. We might not have the same funding as companies like Facebook and all the rest of it have. Granted, I'll grant you that. But I'll also tell you that the bridge between the difficulty in implementing something at the level of KOGs Slam and integrating blockchain and all the rest of it versus what some of these AAA games are trying to do, it doesn't matter how big your army is, and it doesn't matter how deep your pockets are, it's not going to happen. Not yet. So the answer to the question, XP, is I think that a lot of those companies realise that we're still really early to the party, and these are the beginning stages. And I'll put our hand up, and I'll put my hand on my heart, and I'll say, we, knowing the space, being in the space for a long time, thought, it'll be easy to get out a version of the Vault by X date and X time and all the rest of it. And it's just not. It's not anywhere near as easy as people think it is, and we're a long, 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 long way away from what a lot of the companies are telling you that they are able to produce. That's why I'm extremely confident in the fact that we'll actually have something up and running and working and all the rest of it. And yes, it might not be as glitzy as far as the massive marketing procession and the drums and whistles and party bands and all the rest of it, but the fact is that it'll be something that's real, and it functions and it works, and it is a representation of the state of the technology's progression as it stands. Don't know if it's been discussed or published. The stats of Slam game revealed, number of users, number of games for you, Fadz.
Yep, Joker. So I think the last time I updated the public was about a couple of weeks ago. So we were around 14,000 players, and then we're up to 20,000 now. We've already started generating revenue as well, but we won't reveal those numbers unless it's audited and approved by management. But the plan is to come up with an infographic after during our open beta period to update the community, so you get to see stats like how many games being played. I know RFOX Run had those stats. We love to share those kind of stats as well. Then the metric that we're looking at is the number of daily active users as well. But the plan is to have that infographic released at the end of the month, so you guys can see the update clearly.
Have you seen Fluffs? Yes, mate. I've followed Fluffs for a long time. XP. I think it's great what they're doing. It's a very interesting way because they've built like almost like rooms or instances. It's very, very, very different to what we're doing, but it's a really cool visual quick win, and it's great eye candy. And I really like their community and the way that they've done things for sure. I think it's great, 100%. But very, very, very different to what we're doing. Whole market feels quiet at the moment. Yeah, we spoke to one of the market makers that we know, and he was saying that just under 80% of the real volume has disappeared from the market over the last few weeks. So that's a massive, massive downturn. If you look at the stats and see daily trading volumes, it might not quite reflect that, but I think that what you'll find is that a lot of the volume that's getting put through might be to provide the illusion that there's still a lot more volume than there actually is. Exactly, Hanford. Best chains can only handle 70 to 100,000 transactions per second. Visa's network handles 5 million per second. Blockchain is a little catching up to it. That's why I think it's a very interesting thing. I don't think it's going to be too long before people start getting clued up on the fact that a lot of these claims that are being made as far as what's going to happen can't yet happen. And I think that a lot of these projects do have the best intention and want to make those types of things happen, but you can still get away with outrageous claims in this space without enough people being educated enough to be able to push back and invalidate what it is that you're actually saying. So I think they get away with it. And it kind of makes me angry sometimes, and I'm sure Pete, from a tech perspective, it pisses me off because I think to myself, like, do people actually believe that? Like, are they going to fall for that? And these companies are raising 80, 100 million, 150 million, and I'm thinking, that's just going to go on an advertising campaign because ultimately that can't be put to good use at this particular point in time. And the ones that do spend money on groundbreaking technology and stuff, no one wants to use it because it's not sexy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about stuff that we've been exposed to and all that, because it's like kind of talking trash about other projects. But yeah, some of these projects are like, I think, over advertising what they got.
And if you actually sort of talk to them about that, a typical response is no one knows, it's fine, which doesn't sit right. And the thing is that it is also frustrating because what we're trying to do, as people have pointed out, is we've got a massive idea and it's very, very complicated. And I think it's extraordinary how much stuff we're able to pull together with what there is available. And, people will say, well, I hear it all the time. People say, why don't you do what, I won't mention the project's names, but why don't you do what they're doing? Have you seen their ads? Have you seen their video? Have you seen what theirs looks like? And I think to myself, it doesn't look like that. It won't look like that. It's not like that. But at this particular point in time, I think also people don't care. They're prepared to buy what's glitzy, and if it makes money in the short term, then that's all that matters, right? So I think that one thing that we can definitely say is when we do bring out the whole platform and it clicks together, I think that regardless of whether people say, I was expecting more based on the adverts from other people that they've put out in the industry, we'll be able to hold our heads very high because that's where the state of the market is as far as development is concerned. And I think I don't honestly believe that I'm seeing anything that is significantly better than what we're doing. I think honestly we'll have one of the best showcases in the market for sure and certain, and it will be realistic and it will be sustainable, and we'll be able to grow on that base. So I'm very, very, very happy and proud that we've taken that route. Guys, I've got to jump off to this other conference, but
Yeah,
answer those.
I'll answer those questions, Benny. You better attend the conference.
Yeah. Have a good night, guys. Thank you for joining. I appreciate that your time is precious, and the final note that I'll leave you with is it is quiet. The market's extremely quiet. I think just focus on the projects that are building stuff. keep your minds occupied and make sure that you understand that this space is a long-term proposition and movement. So just stick with it. Don't look at the numbers going up and down every day unless you're planning on selling every day. It's a longer-term thing, and don't panic so much if things dip. It's not long-term. It's not detrimental. So have a fantastic night, guys, and I'll speak to you very shortly.
Thanks, Benny.
Thanks,
I'll
guys.
answer the question from Craigo before I head out. Is the buy-up of the floor of KOGs still happening from MintLab KOGs proceeds? So you guys can see there was a pause of activity on KML because of the holiday period, and the team had to regroup again to discuss the utility cases around the KOGs that are going to be minted from this program, right? So we already have a list of potential partners that we're going to work with. So the agenda is for us to be able to use those KML and select cubes and select KOGs that are in our ecosystem for whitelisting into those projects as well. So we have quite a bit of back and forth with these projects, and they've been knocking on our door. Ben has been gatekeeping them to make sure that these are all legit projects that have been researched. So you'll be able to see this announcement related to KML pretty soon. But yeah, we're not ignoring it per se. We just had to make sure the resources are all put into place properly with a good plan to go out into the broader market. All right, I gotta go, guys. Take care. Talk to you guys next week.
Have a good
Cheers,
one, Fadz.
See you.
Yeah, so
we're
Ninja,
the
I'm gonna clarify that the statement about the instance. It's per instance. So everything that you would see in the vault, like the shops and all that, would be instance, which means if you enter, say, Josh's shop, yes, there will be a limit of 32 people per instance, and if the limit is hit, then a new instance will be created. So if a new guy, the 33rd guy, goes in, he'll be alone in Josh's shop. And that'll be the same for like the racetrack, the roller coasters, the whatever rooms that we have, the secret room or whatever that we have, by the side of the lake or something. Yeah, all those will be instants. But 32 is what we got right now. But obviously, we're looking at trying to break that. Yeah, Ninja. So the whole vault also is actually split into instances. Like Kalinova is one instance. I mean, the outside of Kalinova is actually one instance. But you're right. That instance would be actually a big instance, and there will only be 32 people. So that would be a bit sparse because that's when you're walking on the streets of Kalinova with before entering the shops. But Akamoto will be a different instance. The other quarters will be different instance. But the moment you hit any, like the train station or the secret door, behind the tree, anytime you hit any one of those, you'll be teleported into a different instance. Will there be
Can you
private
expand that
instances
for
with
browser?
passwords? Not passwords per se, Phantom, but keys. I said keys. God dang it.
If you're on a browser, could that be more people in an instance as opposed to mobile, or is it gotta all be streamlined to the mobile?
No, it'll be the same. It's the same tech behind it, anyways.